are watching and or listening to Real Conversations with Jacob Young. Real Conversations is sponsored by Boys Town. Boys Town has been saving children, healing families for over 100 years, guys. Also by Lane Frost brand, made for the champion in you. And keep in mind, you can throw in your questions, your comments in this interactive live chat, and you might just get your comment and or question posted on today's episode. If for some reason you missed the live broadcast, we'll be available next Wednesday anywhere and everywhere you stream your podcast. Now, my guest this week is a rising star in TV and film on shows like Westworld, Lena Dunham's Sharp Stick. He's also a writer, he's a producer, and just so happened to be a phenomenal goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. If you follow the United Soccer League and MLS, you'll recognize him from teams like Sacramento Republic, Chicago Fire, Orange County Soccer Club. I mean, soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world, being played in over 200 countries by 250 million players. But this sport continues to gain more and more popularity in the United States, as you know. So thanks to players like my guest this week, Patrick McLain, you know what time it is. It's time to keep it real with Real Conversations with Jacob Young. Patrick McLain.
Hey. What
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You know, Patrick and I, we actually met at the LAX airport, and I'm kind of like, I don't make a habit of like just going up to people and stuff, but I realized that there was like a whole group of dudes that were walking on this plane, and I was like, they have to be a sports team. I got to find out what the heck's going on. And of course, as the natural leader that you are, we struck up a conversation.
Yeah, totally. That was funny. I remember that day quite well. And yeah, I think we were traveling to play against Real Salt Lake. So, and you were in Utah at the time.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I said, oh, really? Any tickets on the table?
It's like, yeah, sure. I don't know. You're now the only person I know in Utah.
Well, the irony, but you know, it's funny. I don't make a habit of actually going up to sports figures and sports teams and things like that, but it did happen.
Yeah.
And I have to actually get this off my chest because I've never actually publicly told this story to anybody. And I actually was living like a lie about it. Like I was like, oh, that didn't happen. And every time I thought about it, it made my heart skip a beat. And that was like really, it's just, I finally have like accepted, like, everybody makes mistakes, Jacob. Everybody makes mistakes. But the story is, at the time I would be when I would get on a plane, I would wait to be the last one on, right? I'd already checked my bag through and I'm like, yeah, these guys are all trying to shove themselves into the plane first. So I like kind of chilling back and laying back a little bit. And I look to my left and there's another guy, really tall dude. And I recognize him immediately because I'm a fan and he's a sports figure. And there's like this younger guy, maybe in his 20s, that's standing there with him. And I walk over to him like I did with you, Patrick. And we have this whole conversation. We start talking about sports. And I finally go, I'm like, you keep on hitting those home runs, Jeter. And he goes, Alex Rodriguez. I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. I mean, I about like imploded on that second right there. I was like, oh, I never felt so bad in my entire life. And the kid was like looking at me going, man, I can't help you with that one. So, that's off limits.
Oh, man, that's good.
So
and just publicly broadcasting that major. That's all right. Hey, we've all been there.
You got to laugh at yourself sometimes. And,
Absolutely.
I might have had a couple beers in me, maybe a couple. So America's sports pastimes have historically been baseball, basketball, NFL, football.
Totally.
Why do you think soccer has taken time in becoming as popular as it is today in the U.S.?
That's a great question. I think there's a number of things that go into it, and kind of staying off the conspiracy type theories that go into it. I'd say that just the youth that's playing and growing up in the sport will I think that inevitably creates a situation where if the kids have played the sport, then they're more apt to want to watch it. And I think with it being one of the biggest youth sports in America now, and pretty much everywhere, I think that's kind of what we're seeing now. Is I always had coaches that would say, you're not going to be appreciated even if you're a professional. Like, your kids will be appreciated because the sport will have grown so much by that time. But I don't know. That's my glossed over 2 cents on it.
Well, that makes perfect sense. But you must have started playing soccer when you were really young, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us the
Sorry.
story. How to start.
So I started when I was 5. My dad was my coach. My best friend was on the team. His dad was a coach too. I played every sport growing up. I played football. I played basketball. I played baseball. I did that until high school, really. And then I started to just focus on soccer. But because I was a goalkeeper, these past other sports that I played, like basketball, baseball, these all help with your hand-eye coordination, all these different aspects. And so, the transference of that into being a goalkeeper was really helpful, and I think really helped me to be successful in what I did. But
yeah, you became successful doing it.
Yeah, it was a lot of hard work, and I'm really happy that I did what I did, and I think it served its purpose in my life, and I'm excited for what's next as well.
Absolutely. Well, what life skills do you think kids can learn by playing team sports in schools?
Oh man, lots. I think just like hard work, determination, teamwork, understanding. I mean, this goes along with teamwork, but understanding how to operate in a group and what roles you can play. And it kind of helps you identify your own strengths and your own weaknesses and how those can fit into a group scenario. So you can kind of use your teammates' help and, propel your own strengths, but also use the strengths of your teammates to help your whole team in the achieving of this goal, so to speak. I think those are the big ones that I've noticed.
Yeah, and we could utilize that in the rest of our lives in all sorts of aspects, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I didn't really have much else to say.
No, I just, I'm just thinking like in the business world or in life or in the acting business, of course, which you're making your foray into. It's, it really takes a team. It takes a team of people to really, create the vision and make sure that, you're getting to where that next goal is.
100%. I mean, and for those listeners who've never been on a movie set, like, you see the couple people who are up there acting, but there's like 50 people behind the camera all making this happen. And it's such, what we're doing, we're really blessed and thankful to do, but there's so many people that help to make these things a reality. And it's overwhelming sometimes, but it's pretty special.
And everybody, they either enjoy it in 30 minutes, 1 hour, or a couple hours. And it's like, and it's taken months to put it together.
Months and months and hours and hours. Yeah.
Well, you've been doing a lot of filming lately, of course. I mean, Lena Dunham's Sharp Stick, Westworld. You've got an up and coming episode we can't really talk about on a Amazon series. Have you always wanted to be an actor?
Since going down this path, I can kind of trace back to some of the things that led me here. But to answer your question, I never saw being an actor as a career path. I know you grew up in Texas. I grew up in Wisconsin. I didn't see being an actor as a career path. Nobody from where I'm from became an actor. Like that just wasn't even talked about. The irony is I went on to play professional sports, but like for some reason that seemed like a more tangible goal than actually becoming an actor. But if I actually trace it back to some of the early origins, I used to make movies with my friends. I used to direct and write them and act in them, and that was just something we did for fun or for school projects. And used to do theater. Didn't think about it. didn't think about it as a career path, and understand the value that it would have later in my life. So yeah, to answer your question, I guess I didn't see it as a possibility until I met my wife, and she's very much in the business. And I've just started to really dive into this sort of creative side of my personality that I didn't access before. When it was soccer, it was all soccer, and now I'm really happy to be where I'm at.
Well, that's the story. Your story is not unlike a lot of people's stories. There's a lot of young people out there that, they realized that they were, they had an interest in it. They were shooting things with in my day, it was like some sort of like little tiny tape video camera or something like that we would use and take around before it was all digital. But that is really the first steps in really, kind of exploring that. And of course, obviously you have had such a fantastic career in soccer. So there's a reason that got waylaid, but that's great that you've reinvigorated that passion inside of yourself to go out there and really make that new artistic statement. And we were just talking about it before we went live here, about building a mountain. You built that mountain already. You did it with the soccer career, but now you're building that mountain with your professional acting career.
Yes.
And not to mention producing, right? You got a little bit of a project that's in development.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't sleep a lot. So like I got all these, yeah, you understand. You have kids.
You look great for somebody who doesn't sleep a lot. I don't know. And I don't sleep a lot. I look like I'm like 90. Maybe that's because I'm getting up there.
No, you look great. So when I'm in bed, I have all these crazy thoughts going through my head, and some of these, these thoughts I've just figured out. I've always written. That was always my strongest subject in school. I've just started to really translate my writing capabilities into this format of writing screenplays, and luckily I pitched one of my ideas to a contact that we have at Stone Village. Stone Village just finished Station 11 on HBO, and they just got greenlit for another 2 seasons, which is awesome for them. So we've been working in development with this project with them for a while, and we're really excited about it.
Oh man, and as you should be. That's to make anything in this industry is the hardest thing to do. People don't realize that. Yes, there are more streaming platforms. Yes, there are more opportunities for people to view, more room for actors to be working in. But at the same time, just to get into a club where you can fit in and see that artistic statement that you want to make and develop it, take it all the way, it's a lot of work.
It's a ton of work. A ton of work. And it's such a competitive space. Like, every actor has, well, a lot of the high level actors have their own ideas for shows and want to get those made. And so you're up against everybody, really. It's not an easy place to be. You're
up against that, and you're up against a lot of money. There's a lot of money that's dumped into these projects, and you go, oh, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
But good for you, man. That's awesome. It sounds like you're covering all the different spaces where it comes to that. It sounds like you had a supportive father, obviously family. I know that you're an Irish family. You grew up in Wisconsin. What lessons did you learn from your parents that you carry with you in life today?
Wow, what a question. That's great. Yeah, I did. I had really great parents. I was really blessed in that way. There was, I'd say, what lessons that I learned from them. From my mom, definitely hard work and perseverance, and not wasting the day. I think, she has such an incredible work ethic. And unfortunately, for a long time, it was so underappreciated what sort of work ethic she had, just like between raising our kids and having a career and, building this family and making dinners, just like superwoman, right? It was just crazy. So, her and I were always really close. And I think a lot of those traits I try to take into what I do, but I try to do it in a way where hopefully there'll be some more benefit to my family, not nothing against her. She was just, she's doing this on so many levels that it was hard for her to help us, progress in a financial capacity as well. But for my dad was always just such a great dad, and so patient with myself and with my sisters. Like, he was cut from a different kind of cloth than my mom. I think he has a lot of value and saw a lot of value in, punching the time card every day and providing what our family needed. And he always did that. And I think he gave me a really good example of how to deal with my kids. I think that's the biggest thing that I take away from my time with him, is just like being loving. He was very loving with me, and I try to be the same with my kids, so that they always know that they're loved, or if they need a hug, like, they don't have to go to mom for a hug. They can come to me for a hug,
Mm-hmm. And that takes a little bit, because I've got 3 kids, as you know, and some of my kids have, it was always about mommy to a certain age, right? And as it should be, they did carry them 9 months. They did, my wife breastfed. There was things that, that they're more drawn to and they feel more comfortable with. And so for me, like, it was disheartening as a dad when they were in a time of need. Maybe they fall down, they skin their knee, something, and they didn't want me. They would want mom. But having the patience, and also continuously being there for them, that starts to change. Now I have to say that I'm the favored parent. I'm just saying, no, but not that it's a competition in my household.
It doesn't sound like it.
So, man, you quoted meditationist John Kabat-Zinn, I think I'm saying his name right, on Instagram recently, with his statement: "The only chance you have to be something in this lifetime is to be yourself." How important is it for everyone to stay true to who they really are inside?
Oh my gosh. I just feel like if you're not doing that, you're, excuse my brashness, but you're wasting your life. Like, truly. If there's something that's not vibing with the frequency that is you, I would highly recommend making changes, just because I feel like there's so little time, and we just don't know how much time we really have. Like, and I don't mean to be overly heavy with that. Just we really don't. And for all of us, mortality is a real thing. And I think that if you're spending time being anything other than who you are and who you want to be, then you're probably gonna have a lot of regret, at the end of the day, at the end of your life. And so I think it's very important to me to not feel that regret, and to raise my kids in a way where they can understand that they can be exactly who they are, and we'll love them for that, and we're going to try to teach them the right ways to be who they are, and express themselves. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you got to do what your heart, your soul calls to do, because otherwise, as far as we know, we get one shot at this existence as it is. So
yeah, definitely. Well said, my friend. I'd like to share with everybody a photo of you and your beautiful wife, Maria.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have 2 kids now, right?
Yes, 2 kids.
Yeah.
3-year-old and a 3-month-old.
Obviously, they're not going to be attractive children. We're just gonna...
Not if they take after me. Maybe if they take... No, they're really cute, and hopefully they're very smart and talented, and everything that goes along with it. But
well, man, you're a blessed man, very blessed. Now, has finding true love changed you inside as a person?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I wasn't even a real person until until I met Maria. Like I honestly, like, I look back at the person that I was prior to meeting Maria, and I'm like, who is that person? And I know from a biological standpoint, we shed every one of our cells every 7 years. Like, through the course of 7 years, you literally are an entirely different person. So I honestly, I look back to that time period before her, and I'm just like, man, I'm different. I'm a different person than I was, and in such a better way. And finding true love, I think that's really happened not only through her but through my kids. Like, I was pursuing soccer for such a long time, right? And it was 100% the love of my life for a long time. And you can take that for what it is. Is it right? Looking back, that's a questionable way to approach that, but it was, and it was all that I wanted to do. It was all that I wanted to spend my time with. Like, it was the love of my life. And and nurturing my relationship with Maria and growing in that, and then having our kid, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real love. Whatever I was doing before this moment, it doesn't actually mean anything now. It's just, it was crazy. And so that, in terms of that, finding true love has changed me 100%.
Yeah.
100% of my being.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Are you good at forgiving yourself when, say, you're having a rough day or like maybe not the greatest game?
I'm getting better. That's really the best answer I can give to that, because I'm not good at it. And my wife has helped a lot in this. Meditation has helped a lot in this, and understanding like what I feel is my true purpose has helped a lot in this. And I think, man, I think it's regret and being down on yourself. There's such little place that it should have in your life, truly, because this life can be really short.
Yeah, it can. I want to show everybody a couple photos of you in action, just in case, anybody was
Sure.
tuning in. I mean, here's Patrick, like, obviously, I'm probably making a goal save here, jumping. I don't even know. You look like Superman in this photo.
Yeah.
And by the way, Patrick is 6'3". I mean, if this guy was running at me on the field, or like, I had to like come up against this dude, I would have some serious, reluctance to be getting in front of you. Here's another photo. Look at the reach. Great reach, man. Great, and pretty good looking. Why are soccer players? This is another question. Why are soccer players also good looking? I don't
know. Maybe we just take better care because we don't have like a face mask or anything. So it's just our face out there. So we take extra care. I don't know.
Well, what do you see in the future for Patrick McLain?
Oh man. I guess what I'd like to see first and foremost is just happiness. I would like for our family to be happy and healthy, and those are my primary focuses. I'd really like to get behind the camera. A couple shows going would be awesome, and then in front of the camera, same. I'd love to be in a situation where I'm regularly on a show and regularly doing something that I really love. And I mean,
sounds like you're well on your way right now, bro.
Yeah. Just one day at a time.
You didn't become a soccer star, you had to do it one day at a time. It didn't happen overnight. That was a whole career of your life. And, through grade school, through middle school, through high school, through college. I mean, that takes a while. And so does an acting career. It takes time to develop.
Absolutely.
And you're doing it already, which I think is fantastic, man. You got the right right look, right heart, your desires there. Obviously, work ethic is there, and that's beautiful.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Now we just looked into the future, but of course, everybody takes a ride on the Jacob Young time machine, whether they know I have a time machine or not. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give 12-year-old self?
That's tough. My 12-year-old self was in a pretty rough place. It's funny that you chose that age. I had a really bad head injury when I was 12. I was in bed for a year. I spent 6 months in the hospital. So it's funny that you choose that age, because that was really the toughest. And we didn't plan this, for everybody listening. That was a really, really hard time in my life.
What happened?
I was in a snowboarding accident. So I got a concussion. I should have died. Luckily, my dad had bought a helmet about a week before that. So you can look into that how you will. Had an out-of-body experience. Spent the next year in and out of hospitals. Was in the hospital for about 6 months. I was bedridden on my back for about a year.
Wow.
And it's funny because, looking back at that time in my life, it wasn't the thought of like being on a soccer field again that got me through it. It was movies, flat out. Like it was Jackie Chan movies. And that was just that excuse me, that gave me something to look forward to, and that really in a lot of ways saved my life. And so it's funny because I like to reference that time and what I'm doing now, because I really think that, there's some greater purpose, in that time in my life and in what I'm doing now. And I really want to provide that for somebody else.
Yeah.
So what would I tell that 12-year-old? It's going to be all right, man.
Was there a moment? I mean, because when we're 12, we do and we don't fully grasp something that severe, right? Were you completely, did you have a realization that are you going to get better, or are you going to be in this situation for a long time? Or, I mean, you said you were inspired by Jackie Chan movies, but like what, was there something that got you through, or did you know it instinctively?
There wasn't like, this gets me through. It was actually, that's not true. I had a couple friends who would show up every week to just play video games with me. And that really helped because I was out of school, my tutor would come to my house so that I wouldn't fall behind in school. But my friends from school would show up every week, and that really helped me through. And just like the people that were close to me actually showing up for me, that really helped.
What video game were you playing?
GoldenEye for sure.
GoldenEye.
N64 days.
Yeah, totally.
It probably wasn't fun for them at that point because I had gotten so good because I just didn't have anything else to do. But I knew all the maps by heart. So if we were playing multiplayer, then I knew exactly where to go, and probably just wasn't fun.
If you had the opportunity to talk to Jackie Chan, what would you say to him?
Oh man, just I would thank him, and just I would tell him, what an influence he had in my life. And it's like, as an actor on the other side of that, you're like, oh well, I'm just doing what I love. But you can tell when somebody's doing what they love in a performance capacity, because it comes through, and that sort of passion, that energy, that whatever you want to equate it to, it really comes through, and it comes through your TV screen. And I would just tell him what a profound positive effect that he had on my life. And That's really it. I
Be
mean,
like, I'll show you how to jump over this. Duck under a car when it's flying through the air.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was so incredibly athletic that I was just always in awe. But
yeah, no, he is. Well, I mean, he is still probably guy who's like push-ups with elephants on his back. I mean, the guy's
right.
he's a beast of a man. A lot of movies, done a ton of movies.
Oh yeah.
So we come to the portion of the show, and of course the story is the motto of Boys Town is he ain't heavy, he's my brother. And Father Flanagan, who established Boys Town over 100 years ago, there was one of the boys was disabled, and they didn't have the funding to even barely get him crutches, and the boys would take turns of getting him around from sports events to class, and they would take turns carrying him. And Father Flanagan said, hey, isn't he heavy? And the kid said, he ain't heavy, Father. He's my brother. And these are all kids that were orphaned. And so I guess what I'm asking is, who carried you, Patrick?
During that portion of my life, or now?
Or just at any point in your life? Because it takes a team. Remember, we talked about that at the top of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I think I've always had a team. I think I've always had really strong people around me. And I think it's really important to have that. Back in that time period in my life, I'm still friends with those guys, like age 12. I'm in my 30s now. Those friends of mine are still my best friends. My best man at my wedding was one of those guys. And so I think they definitely, they carried me. Now, I have a great support system here in Los Angeles, and I'm really fortunate, and I have friends from all different walks of life, and all different backgrounds. So I don't know, I guess I hope to carry them as much as they carry me, I guess.
You've definitely done your fair share of carrying. And now your children, you're going to carry through the rest of their lives. For everybody who's out there, make sure you follow Patrick at Patrick McLain 24. Patrick, I just want to say, man, thank you so much for being so open today, talking about your exceptional career and all the great things that are happening. We're all very, very excited about the next step in your life. And of course, as we were talking about earlier, he's done some work on Westworld and many other shows to come, something to be announced very, very soon. So look for Patrick out there. Patrick, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed this.
Have a great day, man.
Thank you. You too.
Well, that's about all the time that we have for today. Real Conversations with Jacob Young, the mental health podcast, is sponsored by Boys Town. At Boys Town, their slogan is, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. And for over 100 years, Boys Town has been saving children, healing families. They're only one call away, and they're always there to help. So please go to boystown.org for all the details on how to access Boys Town's health services, or simply go to yourlifeyourvoice.org. If you're in immediate crisis or need immediate help, please call the trained counselors at Boys Town's national hotline, 800-448-3000. Again, 800-448-3000. If you don't feel like talking to somebody, just text. You can text VOICE to 20121. Thanks for joining me on Real Conversations. I'm Jacob Young. Till next time, love yourself and love each other.